Hello friends, today I'm going to talk about Israel and Hamas, the conflict. The very sad conflict where lives are lost on both sides. It's sad for us. I would like to start this particular talk with a quote from JFK, my favorite American president, John F. Kennedy. He said, and I quote, "Israel was not created in order to disappear. Israel will endure and flourish. It's not going to disappear, whatever you do. It is going to flourish. It is the child of hope and the hope of the brave and home of the brave. It can neither be broken by adversity, by throwing missiles, nor demoralized by success. It carries the shield of democracy and it honors the sword of freedom." Friends, amongst the whole Middle East countries, Israel is the only democratic country where democracy survives, where you can speak freely, where people can go and say to the government that you are doing something wrong and the government has to listen. Can you do this other places? I would like to ask. Can you tell the Saudi king something which he doesn't like? Can you tell somebody else in Middle East? Can you tell somebody in Jordan or Egypt where the kings don't like or the president doesn't like those words? No. Israel is one place which is democratic and hence it has to survive. It is the beacon of democracy in Middle East. With this, I would like to say to you today, that today is also the birthday of President John F. Kennedy. And I wish him happy birthday. He is my most admired and adorable President of the United States of America. Now I come back to today's topic. First of all, let's briefly look at the history of Israel. I'm not here to talk about the biblical times and all this stuff. But 100 of years, Israel was ruled by Turkish, the Ottoman Empire. And within the Ottoman, mind you, they were Turkish, they were not Arabs. Within the Turkish rule, Jews and Arabs stayed together. 1970, Turkey took the wrong stand of aligning with Germany and they lost it. And the British took it over, the British mandate came into existence. 1948, the British divided Palestine into two states, giving Jews their first homeland, which was their right, and another part to the Palestinians. The Palestinians did not accept. Again, quote unquote, Palestinian leadership did not accept. Right? And we had this conflict going on and on and on and on since then. Of course, it's not that every day there is a bombshell. Now, I come to Israel. Israel, my friend, is a pluralistic society. There are Jews staying there, there are Christians staying there, there are Muslims staying there. There are very small minorities like Druze and Bedouins staying there. Now, this is to be understood that all these minorities and all are staying together since, even if you take 1948 as a benchmark, it's almost 72 years they have been staying together. They have their respect, they have their profession to follow, they can do business over there, nobody stops them. So you should remember this is a pluralistic society. On the other side, mostly you see on the Palestinian side is their own society. Once upon a time, Christian Arabs were there, but I don't know now what happens. What's the state of affairs there? Now I come to the people who create this problem. The problem is created for power. The problem is not created to serve the Palestinians better. If they wanted to serve them better, they could have built schools, they could have built hospitals, they could have done so many other things. But the problem is political power. Hamas, Jihad, ISIS, Al-Qaeda all want political power. They are not there to help the Muslims. And if they think that they are there to help the Muslims, you go to Syria, you go to some other countries, they have killed more Muslims than in the 72 years of Israel rule have been massacred in Syria. So please look at that. Even the new godfathers who want to become the godfathers of the Muslim world, like Erdogan of Egypt, Erdogan of Turkey, he says you give Palestine. Okay, I tell him you give Kurdistan. The Kurds have been fighting for independence in Turkey for a number of years. And number of years Iraq has called Kurdish. Turkey has tried to crush them. In fact, in once it was said that they were taking help of Israel to crush the Kurds. Give them. First look at your own self, Mr. Erdogan, and then talk about others. Please. Don't play to the galleries every now and then. Now, what is Israel with the neighbors? Israel is peaceful with the neighbors, especially Egypt and Jordan. Israel and Jordan are neighbors to Egypt. I have traveled through Egypt to Israel. I have traveled through Jordan to Israel. Nothing. It's friendly. The borders are friendly. Both parties don't try to humiliate each other or speak something rubbish. Or try to act. In fact, you feel so friendly by crossing the border. Nobody does anything to you. Nobody speaks anything about Israel, against Israel or for Palestine or anything of that sort. They have good relations. They have just established relations with Dubai. They have established relations with Qatar. They have established relations with Bahrain, Morocco. And for your information, even Turkey has an embassy in Tel Aviv. After all this. So, why this was done? Why these peace treaties were done? Because we believe that there is coexistence. Hamas does not believe in coexistence. Jihad does not believe in coexistence. They want to wipe out not only Israel, they want to wipe out Jew. And in fact, the son of a Hamas leader says that they want to wipe out Hindus also. They want to wipe out everybody except themselves. They want to establish some kind of a caliph. How is that possible? How can you back such an organization? Nobody in the world, Finnish Christians, it's not possible. It's not possible. I think they are dreaming. Or they are just using that as an alibi to gain power. I would now say about certain myths which are going on, unfortunately, in India. One of the myths is, if you oppose Hamas or Jihad, you are against Muslims. How the hell that is? Do they control the entire population of Muslims across the world? If Saudi opposes Al-Qaeda, that means Saudi is against Muslims? Even other countries are opposing Al-Qaeda, Dubai, Qatar and all, so they are against Muslims? Don't equate like that. It's stupid. It's stupid to equate something like that, of that sort. The other myth which I was sent a video was, Gandhi said no to Israel. After 72 years, Hamas and its followers remember Gandhi. Which Gandhi edifice they have followed in their life, I would say. Are they non-violent? Gandhi said a lot of things, ahimsa struggles. Are they doing ahimsa? By saying that we'll abolish all the Jews from the world, are you doing ahimsa? My dear friends, to preach Gandhi and practice is very difficult. Yes, Gandhiji might have said that. I have a lot of respect for Gandhi. He's my father of the nation. I love him. But practically on the field, no. Even we have faced Chinese war. We have faced wars from our other neighbors also. And we have answered them. Israel has full right to answer. They cannot be ahimsa on Israel and hinsa on the other side. This is one thing I want to make it very clear. Second is, I also sent a speech of Atalji by many people saying that he advocated in 1977, my dear friends, what are you digging at? I was there when this speech was made. 1977 was a revolution in Indian history when a dictatorial government of Mrs. Gandhi was thrown and Janata Party was taking over and Atalji was said to be the foreign minister. All he said was continuing of the policy of Congress. People don't write that Moshe Dayan came to see him at that time. Why don't you talk of Narasimha Rao recognizing Israel? Why don't you talk of Najma Heptullah visiting Israel? Everything is forgotten. Few selected pieces are taken and then pushed onto the social media. And Atalji also welcomed Aryan Sharon. It's not a question like that. Foreign policies is an evolving process. What may be said today may not be true after 10 years. This is my answer. The other point is, which is praising of praising of Hitler. What are you praising him for? I saw a post, it said 90% of Jews were finished by Hitler and 10% we will finish it. What the hell? Is this your philosophy? Is Hitler your godfather? Nonsense. Utter nonsense. On one side you oppose somebody because he is like a Hitler. And on the other side you praise Hitler. Don't have double standards. Hitler was one of the most cruelest rulers the world had ever seen. 6 million Jews died and Germany didn't become a glorious nation. Right? Germany was defeated in the war. The guy was such a coward that he burnt himself and did not surrender. So please don't eulogize him. I know a lot of people across the communities eulogize him, not even knowing what he was. So forget about it, of wiping out the Jews 10%. It's rubbish. Now I'll just talk about my experience with Israel. I have traveled to Israel almost 16 times in my life. My first travel was in 1988. And since then, we formed the Society Friends of Israel. We have tried to bring Israel and India closer in the true sense of pluralistic sense, not in the sense of hitting somebody and killing somebody. In the true sense of pluralistic sense, we have tried to build a bridge between Israel and India by supporting youth activities, cultural activities, volunteering, and so on and so forth. And 4 times I have been to Ashkelon, the city which suffered the most from the missiles. Nobody in Ashkelon ever told anything bad about the guys in Gaza. It's a sad pattern. There are so many people from Gaza who come and work in Ashkelon. What is Hamas doing? They are hitting their own people, hitting their own people's bread and butter. In the name of what? Killing all Jews? And how does it sound? I have traveled in Israel. I have visited Arab homes. My favorite baker is Abu Lafia in Tel Aviv. He's an Arab. In all my conversations, he never even expressed a bit of annoyance with anything in Israel. I told him, asked him, which is the favorite country you have? He said San Francisco. Favorite city, and he said San Francisco. He didn't tell me Gaza. So for God's sake, try and understand things which are there. It's not good to just look at one side of the picture and forget about everything else. One-sided stops. Look at the other side also. Look at the good work which Israel is doing. I am a secular person. I even appreciate what aid from Arab countries during our crisis. Israel, being a small country, has also done its best. One should appreciate that. Think about it. That the remdesivir which you are using, where did it come from originally? Say no to it. WhatsApp which you are using, say no to it. WhatsApp which you are using, say no to it. Facebook which you are using, say no to it. Einstein, the father of science in the world, right? Don't teach him. Don't teach him. Abolish him. Say you are not existing. Can you do that? Can you say the contribution of Jews in this world to make a better quality of life? Can you ignore it? No. You cannot ignore it. So now what's it is? I am not a warmongering man. Tit for tat and this kind of talks, rubbish talks. The road ahead is peace. Many Muslim countries have realized it, and you should also realize it. I am no politician to suggest you a two-state theory or a three-state theory. But an amicable settlement of the issue would help the Arabs, the children should go to school, and the people would be happy financially, economically, it would sustain. Here it reminds me that in Ashkelon, people are taught Gandhi in schools. It's not the same. People are taught about Tagore in schools. There is also Tagore Street. Sorry to say, it is not there in Gaza. Nobody teaches Gandhi. I would request that if there is a solution, the children should be taught about Gandhi in Gaza. Now I would like to talk about Friends of Israel, our organization, not-for-profit association. Right? We help people. We are not against any government. We help people. You can see one of the souvenirs which we came out with to help children of farmers who are challenged by economic deprivation in Pune. The organization is called SNAVER, and the photographs show you our philosophy. We have had Dr. Abdul Kalam. Abdul Kalam had visited Israel, and he was highly impressed by Israel. In his book, he has written that when he left Israel, there was a bomb attack, and he expected the newspapers to cover the bomb attack. No. The first page of the Israeli newspaper had an old man who had grown orange in a desert. He was very impressed. Professor Danwate was one of the pioneers of friendship with Israel. He was a socialist. Atalji, which many of our friends have quoted, and Gandhi, of course. And then we have Mother Teresa, and also George Fernandez. And George was one of again a socialist who advocated friendship with Israel. And then you have the social workers, Baba Amte, and obviously the Dalai Lama, who is a supporter of Israel. If you will go through, we'll send you a copy of the brochure. This is Kibbutz Yahid, where hundreds of our students have gone. And they contributed to the society a substantial amount. So on and so forth. We have articles, students from USA, our students from USA contributing to SNEVA, who have been to Israel as well as USA. Gail contributing to this cause. So many of them contributing. These two brothers contributing. And last but not the least, Netafim contributing. And even more than that, ONGC contributing. And the help from the university. If you want to join us, we'll be sending you a link at the end of the video. Apart from what the social service which we do, the volunteers we send to Israel, Friends of Israel was instrumental in establishing a twin city agreement with the city of Ashkelon in Israel, where cultural leaders from Barodara would go to Israel at almost no cost, stay at Ashkelon, and cultural leaders from there come here. And these cultural leaders do not have any, selection is not going to be based on a religion. Whoever we feel fine, who is able to do it, will go there. The charge will be almost very, very negligible. This is what Twin City Agreement has done. Unfortunately, it was signed in January 2020. Unfortunately, we have had COVID since then all across the world. Now we have COVID here, then there was this unwarranted war or a war-like situation in Israel. And hence not much could be done. But now that things are becoming normal, there will be a lot of interaction with Ashkelon, with our kibbutzes Yahid, Kibbutz Eliphaz, and so many other places. You know, friends, Israelis love India. There is a beautiful director over there who has made a play of the movie Sangam of Raj Kapoor. And it's done marvelously. The whole play is called Sangam. All songs of Sangam are there. All scenes of Sangams are there. And this play makes Israelis cry in the end. In fact, he jokingly told that I didn't know that they will cry. Otherwise, I would have bought some towels and sold it at a premium rate. So, this is what Israel is. But I'd like to end with a beautiful video of late Prime Minister Golda Meir of Israel, where she says that prior to 1948, Jews and Arabs lived happily. And since I was born at that time, I'm a Palestinian. And this you would see from her own, hear her from her own voice, and the video is also be there. So, thanks. No offense to anyone. Hope the ceasefire lasts. Peace comes to the Holy Land.
I mean, when were Palestinians born? What was all this area before the First World War? When Britain got the mandate over Palestine, what was Palestine then? Palestine was then the area between the Mediterranean and the Iraqi border.
You say there was no such thing as
East and West Bank? No. East and West Bank was Palestine. I'm a Palestinian. From 21 until 48, I carried a Palestinian passport. There was no such thing in this area as Jews and Arabs and Palestinians. There were Jews and Arabs.